Welcome to the Startup of the Year podcast, where each episode we showcase exciting new companies from around the world. This podcast is produced by Established, creators of the Startup of the Year program. Established is focused on helping organizations with their innovation, startup, and communication strategies.
Hello and welcome back to the Startup of the Year podcast. Well, back if you've been here before. Hello for the first time if this is your first episode. But thank you so much for being here. I'm Frank Gruber, your host. I'm also the co-CEO of Established, as well as the co-founder of Established, as well as the co-founder and managing partner at Established Ventures. Excited to have you here as we've got a great guest here today. We're going to be talking about some of the things he's been up to for the last decade plus. And if you've been around this community for a while, you've seen Austin really explode as a hub. And with that, this effort that this gentleman we're going to be talking to in a moment has been a part of and started is really a key part of that. So if you've been around Austin scene, you know our next guest. He's been around for a little bit here, and he's helped thousands of entrepreneurs launch and scale their companies. He's built an innovation powerhouse down in Austin, Texas, and he's been a relentless advocate for founders. So I'm talking about Joshua Baer. He's the founder and CEO of Capital Factory, Austin's premier startup hub. It's connecting founders, investors, mentors, and talent. And we got a chance to catch up with him when I was down in Austin in March, right before the big festival down there kicked off, and as part of the Established House. So thank you all that joined us down there. It was a great time. We had a great group, and obviously excited to talk to Josh in person when we were down there. And we've known each other for a long time, long before Capital Factory had other startups and things that I was covering when I was doing Tech.co, and before that Somewhat Frank, and before that even TechCrunch. So definitely familiar with the work he's done, and he's just put on a great effort here in Austin to make it a hub for innovation. And anyone knows if you go to Austin and you're looking to connect with startups, the place to go is Capital Factory. So excited about that. Speaking about networks and growing things, and I wanted to, before we jump into that conversation, I wanted to jump in and tell you a little bit about what we've been doing over at Established. We've got a network we just launched called the Established Network. Established Network is a network of over 1,600 entrepreneurs, investors, and thought leaders, folks from government, corporate innovators, folks that are just thought leaders in general out there. And more or less, we're bringing them all together in a place where they can collaborate and advance their entrepreneurial visions. So that's really what this is all about with Established Network. If you go over to established.network, so just spell out established.network, that's the full domain. You can go check it out and become a part of it. It's free to join. We've got some great things going on in there, and it will continue to grow over time as we converge our other networks. So Startup of the Year is going to fit kind of under this new Established Network brand, and we'll continue to run the program, and hope that the efforts together will obviously continue to build and bolster both. So excited about that. And with it, we've got a monthly call we've launched. It's called the Monthly Innovation Circle, or it's a monthly virtual event, but more or less. If you join it, it's you go to established or est.us/the mic 2025, est.us/the mic, and you can join it. And it's the third Thursday of every month. So it's going to be on rotation. We're going to have different guests every time. It's hosted by Jamila Corbett, who's part of the Established team. She's a great host. We just kicked it off in March, and it was a lot of great energy, and had a couple different guests that really brought some interesting insights. So we're going to continue to rotate through different guests, investors and thought leaders, and best-selling authors, and startup founders, and corporate innovators, and government agency folks, and all the different groups that are kind of part of this ecosystem. And our goal is to continue to educate and create a resource that you can continue to move forward with your effort. So that's what we're doing over Established Network. Check it out at established.network and join our monthly innovation circle, or the mic hashtag. I should do hashtag the mic. And again, est.us/the MIC 2025 to join. All right. Now we're going to jump into that conversation with Josh Baer in 3, 2, 1. And this is my friend over here who's been doing this for a long time. How many people have been at the Capital Factory, or heard of the Capital Factory, or going to the Capital Factory later? There you go, a bunch of folks. Well, this man over here has started that. He's been working in Austin for quite a while to build what has turned into basically an epicenter for startups and innovation. And so really excited to be talking to him today. I don't think we've actually ever done an interview like this.
How can that
I don't know. Without further ado, Joshua Baer, he goes by Josh if you're talking to him. Joshua? Josh. Baer, let's get a round of applause for Josh joining us today. All right, so first off, want to get started by first off, thank you for being here. I know it's been, like I said, a while since we've actually ever done this. It's actually never happened. But I remember first meeting you. It was probably at a South by, but prior to that, you even pitched a company called Other Inbox.
That's right.
So that's how far we go back. Back to your startup.
I was probably pitching it here at South by.
Oh, really?
So 2008.
Okay. Well, you also pitched it at TechCrunch.
That's true.
Yes. One of the first TechCrunches back in the day. And I remember that company and helping organize email.
By the way, that was also when I met JCal, who's now here in Austin. Do you know that?
Yeah,
he's at he has an office at Capital Factory. It's
so full circle.
Full circle.
Wow,
yeah.
That is really funny. All right, so let me get to my script here because I'm off the rails already. So you've been doing this for how long? When did you start Capital Factory?
Yeah, so Capital Factory started in 2009, and it really was like a pop-up summer program, almost like a summer camp we did for 3 years. And we all had other jobs and other things that we were doing. And then in 2012 is when we opened the physical space, the top floor of the building that we're in now. And as I look back, I think of it like it had multiple starting points, and I've got multiple co-founders who some of them joined at different times. But so those are two of the important dates, kind of 2009,
And
2012.
once you turned into a space, it really started to explode, or did it take a while to kind of get that? Because now Austin has just exploded, and you see so many more companies and moving here, and obviously
it's like one of those 10-year overnight success things. I think what happened when we went from being like a program that ran once a year to being a place that was open every day is we realized, we said, okay, well, like what happens the rest of the year, like the other 9 months? Like we need to find a way to like deliver value, to offer, help people all the time. And it took us a little while to figure that out. But really the first thing the catalyst that helped us figure out one of our really unique value adds was President Obama decided to come to Austin. And, when something like it's, I wish it was like he came to see us or something like that. Of course,
is that through Startup America or just cuz?
No, just he was coming here. He was, he was coming to make some announcement about some job creation program or whatever fit into the agenda he was trying to go do. And they plan out a program. They're like, all right, so we're going to go to we'll go to some really innovative high school. Let's go to some like big company, Applied Materials, and hey, let's go visit all the startups. Where do we go for that, right? And so they call up the Office of Science and Technology. He calls up Evan Burfield, another person we probably know for a long time from at the time at 1776, and they're like, oh, you got to go to Capital Factory. Right. So we get a call from the White House. That's the senior White House official would like to come visit visit you. Anyway, as a result of getting,
so they called your personal phone number, or do you have an actual like red phone that goes off when when they call you? Like,
that was actually an email, but funny story, they installed the red phone at Capital Factory.
Oh, did they?
No shit. Like they installed it 24 hours before you got there, and once they install that phone, a military guy with a gun stands next to the phone all the time, 24/7.
Emergency phone.
I swear to God, phone. I saw the phone; it was there. But what I was trying to say with that is, he came, and as a result, we give him a tour, we walk him around, and we didn't even really know what we're doing, but they, without telling you what to do, tell you what to do, and so 5 of our companies got to present to the president, got to pitch the president.
That's great.
Right? Which was, of course, like life-changing for them. And what is obvious in hindsight, but you don't even really think about when you're so excited about something like that happening, was like, do you realize, like, in order for someone to present to the president, how many other people have to see it first?
Right.
And then while you're presenting to the president, it's not like in a closed room. There's like an army of TV cameras, right? And like other people that follow him around, right?
There's no surprises.
No. And so basically it's just incredible exposure, right? And so we give them the list of the companies that we're thinking about. All those companies get reviewed by all these different people. Then there's the final ones that gets published in the list of all the people the president met with. Holy shit, what a great, opportunity. And it was. And so then, what happens is like once he came, there was a halo effect. Then kind of like, not too much longer, it was South by, and Ash Carter, the Secretary of Defense, was coming to Austin. And again, they're like, well, where do you go? He's like, well, hey, President Obama went to Capital Factory.
You should go to Capital Factory.
Why do you go to Capital Factory, right?
Right?
And then that happened over and over and over and over again for years. And so you say, did it and we realized that was a huge part of our value add, was creating these opportunities for the companies. And now, this morning it was the new director of the NSA was over there, and it's not all government people at all. It's investors, and it's the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and other things too. But every day there's somebody coming through.
Yeah.
And we have someone's job, we call it VIP. And on the outside, it looks like their job is to give you a tour. Like they're the tour guide, and you're thinking, but on the inside, like we look at them as one of the most important people at Capital Factory, one of the most important roles, and their job is to figure out for every person coming in, who are the 3 companies that would like benefit the most from getting in front of them, where it could really change their world, and that
great.
happens every day, and that's really the magic of Capital Factory that's come out of having this place and like having all these people together.
It's a finely oiled machine. I mean, I'm getting the emails too. For South by saying, here's the 3 people or 5 people you should talk to, or the companies you should talk to, and I'm getting those in my inbox from somebody on the VIP team. So it definitely works, and I think they've been really great curated.
Thank you. And also everybody at Capital Factory knows, and it's really a part of our culture. No matter what their job description, no matter what they do, their job is to help startups by primarily introducing them to people, connecting them to other people that can help them.
That makes sense. Now you started like as an accelerator. You've kind of shifted the model slightly, but you're still offering services and providing value to these companies that are part of your, what do you call it, the portfolio, or what do you members?
Portfolio members,
members. Okay.
I mean, there's different layers to it, but really we think of ourselves still as an investor. We're actually the most active investor in Texas. Pretty much every week we're writing a check into one of these companies.
Wow,
we are not the biggest investor. We write a lot of small checks, and we don't lead deals. We're co-investing with lots of other people, and so but the reason why people let us into their deals, even though we're not writing the big check, even though we're not the biggest investor, is because they're like, I want to get invited when Tim Cook comes, or when like that other person comes that could be the one that changes my world. I want to be part of that event you're putting on. I want to come do things at Capital Factory and be part of it. And
great value,
that's really what it's
development
about.
Value.
Yeah, it's about, we call it all access.
Right.
But everybody wants all access.
That makes sense. All right, so we don't have a ton of time today, so I'm going to kind of cut to the chase. Now you've shifted, slightly, and you now have made like an epicenter for government dual use, and I've noticed that you've got a lot of great government folks like that are literally in your space. How is that? What has that done, or how is that? How did that evolve over the last?
It's so funny because I wish I could say like I tried to do that, or like it was something. It's kind of like the VIP thing. Like a lot of the great things that happen, you stumble upon. They come to you, right? And so we didn't decide we were going to go become defense contractors or work with the military or I wanted to meet with the director of the NSA. But what happened is they came to us because, as you know, one of the big buzzwords in the government right now is dual use. It's about how they can work with companies that aren't just working with the government, but do stuff with the commercial market as well. And the reason they want to do that is because they're thinking, that way we don't have to pay for everything. Like if they only sell to us, we're paying for all the R&D. But if they're selling to the commercial market too, the commercial market is funding the R&D. It's actually really smart. And it means the commercial market helps make our economy stronger. So it does both those things at once. And so they really came to us because they wanted companies who didn't think of themselves as companies that worked with the government. But the result of it now is, as you know, what we have up there is we have our own Pentagon, like a couple blocks from here. Yeah. And there is nothing like it anywhere else. And we have the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, the Defense Department, which somehow is something else. Space, the people up in space, the secret people, everybody else. There's like 14
they have space people there. That's
different.
amazing.
Well, the people that
actually, you know what? I think for you, look at this. I wore my space socks
there
today.
You go. Yeah.
Space people socks.
We certainly have people that have been to space.
Yeah.
But they're all there. And that's the thing. There's nowhere else where they're all together.
Yeah.
They don't do that. They just go get their own buildings.
Right.
And as a result, they don't talk to each other. And that's what's really, and then it makes this draw. Like, why do all the generals and the NSA director and these people come? Well, it's because all those other government people are there.
Right.
Which creates more opportunities for the startups.
Collisionable moments.
Yeah.
You can actually, in a good way, not like in a bad collision.
Yeah, good collisions.
Good collisions where they're actually able to.
Serendipity.
Yes, exactly. That's really cool. And so now you've got that. And the first thing I thought of, just my risk management mind was going off saying, oh, but God, it's the Pentagon. Hopefully you have a lot of security over there.
Right?
Right?
Actually, that's the other part of like it's a feature, not a bug.
Right.
There's no security.
Oh, geez, don't tell everyone
that. Anybody can walk up there because the thing about it is,
should we be publishing this later? I don't know.
If you're normally like a government employee, you work in a government building, guess what? You only get to talk to people that get through security.
Right.
So that means you can only talk to people that you already know you want to talk to. That doesn't really work very well for innovation.
Right.
There's no serendipity in that, right? So the magic thing about for them being stationed at Capital Factory, other than it's probably the coolest office they could have in the government, is that random entrepreneurs who didn't know they wanted to work with the government, who didn't even think of themselves that way, are walking by them
through.
and they can collide with and maybe do something with.
That's great. It's really offering an opportunity for folks. That's awesome. And we are almost at time because I know you're tight on schedule too. You got a whole thing going on over there at the Capital Factory later today. You got the startup.
I'm actually in another place right now. It's another startup we have, but
Wait, what?
I'm in two places at once.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'll have to talk about that later. But
It's a quantum startup.
all right, rapid fire because we're gonna wrap this pretty quick. I'm gonna throw out a few phrases, and if you could just quickly respond with your thought. The number one skill that every founder needs.
Sales.
The biggest red flag when evaluating a startup.
Founder salary.
The one startup you wish you had invested in early.
Yext, Y-E-X-T, Howard Lerman.
Oh yeah. Best place to grab tacos in Austin.
Guero's, my favorite.
There you go. All right, let's give it
But
up.
that is something people will fight about.
Wait. Oh, really? They
Yeah,
fight
but
about
tacos
this?
and a barbecue.
And best place is that breakfast tacos or just regular tacos?
Real tacos.
Real tacos. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we give you a round of applause, what's one thing you're working on right now that you're excited about? You want to share with everyone?
We just made the biggest investment we've ever made. I said we don't normally lead deals, but we did lead this deal, and we put I got to approve sending $100 million to one company.
Wow.
To Apptronic, this humanoid robotics company. And
I
it's
know Apptronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just raised almost over $400 million. Google's involved, Mercedes, a bunch of others.
Wow.
And I remember back 20 years ago when I met you, and Bill Gates, they thought it was crazy. Bill Gates said, someday there's going to be a computer on every desktop.
Right.
And people said, why would you want a computer on every desktop? And they said nobody could afford a computer on every desktop.
Right.
And right now they're saying, and I believe this, like it's another moment like that. There's going to be a robot for every person.
Or
and
two.
And they're saying the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
why would everybody want a robot? Like, who could afford how could everybody afford a robot? But like, I think it's true. I think there's going to be a robot for every person. It's another moment like that. And like, this is possibly like the biggest opportunity in history ever.
I agree. Congrats on that investment. And
one more.
Yeah,
one more.
Wait.
We had two companies land on the fucking moon this week.
That's true.
Firefly Aerospace
Yep.
and Intuitive Machines, two Texas companies
Yep.
and two companies that we invested in. And man, when I met you, if I had ever imagined we'd have one company land on the moon, I never would have believed that. But two of our companies landed on the moon this week.
That's huge.
So that was pretty awesome.
One would be great.
One would be great.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know how to top that. That's pretty awesome. Let's just real quick. Where do they find you if you want to connect, or how can people get connected with Capital Factory?
The best way is we're right around the corner, and Capital Factory House is going on right now. So that's house.capitalfactory.com, 701 7th and Brazos, the Omni Hotel building. If I can help you in any way, you can send me an email. My email is really easy to remember. It's josh@quityourjob.com.
There you go.
And if you send me an email right now, especially if you're here in Austin, you will get actually an auto response right away. Only one of them, only once. But it actually has all my taco and barbecue recommendations, as well as some other things in there too. But that's josh@quityourjob.com.
Josh, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'll be obviously back at your place shortly. So
see you over there.
Let's hear it for Joshua Baer. All right. Thanks so much. All right. Thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate you joining. Gosh, I can't even believe that we've never done an interview like this before. It blows my mind. We've known each other for such a long time, and I'm glad you could join us and be a part of our established house down in Austin when we were down there. It was a lot of fun, and obviously great to hear your story and backstory after knowing you for forever. So thank you so much. And for those listening, and remember out there, if you have an idea or want to get something going, today is the best day to start. Get your entrepreneurial journey going, and please join our community. You can go to established.network to become part of that and join the Mike Call, our monthly innovation circle event. And obviously we want to be a resource, and we want to support your efforts as you take it to the next level. So until next time, I'm Frank Gruber signing off. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Startup of the Year podcast. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll be back with another episode soon.